Namaste, Danava Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 2, The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 8, Text 20. Yogeshvara Ishvara Ishvarya Gatir Linga Bhangastu Yoginam Vedopaveda Dharmanam Itihasa Puranayo. What are the opulences of the great mystics, and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and supplementary Puranas? Purport. The Yogeshvar, or the master of mystic powers, can exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than the atom or lighter than the feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky, etc. There are many Yogeshvaras having different proficiencies in these wonderful powers, and the topmost of all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi, and he can perform such wonderful things, far beyond the ordinary living beings. The devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers, but by the grace of the Lord, his devotee can defeat even a great Yogeshvara like Durvasa Muni, who picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish and wanted to know the wonderful achievements of his mystic powers. Maharaj Ambarish was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus without any effort on his part, the Lord saved him from the wrath of Yogeshvar Durvasa Muni, and the latter was obliged to beg pardon from the king. Similarly, at the time of Draupadi's precarious position, when she was attacked by the Kurus who wanted to see her naked in the open assembly of the royal order, the Lord saved her from being stripped by supplying an unlimited length of her sari to cover her. And Draupadi knew nothing of mystic powers. Therefore, the devotees are also Yogeshvaras by the unlimited power of the Lord, just as a child is powerful by the strength of the parents. They do not try to protect themselves by any artificial means, but are saved by the mercy of the parents. Maharaj Parīkṣit inquired from the learned Brahmana Shukadev Goswami about the ultimate destination of such great mystics, or how they attain such extraordinary powers by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired also about their detachment from the subtle and gross material bodies. He inquired also about the purports of the Vedic knowledge, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. The whole purport of all Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become a transcendental loving servant of the Lord. Text 21. Samplava sarva bhutanam vikramha pratishankrama ishtapurtasya kamyanam trivargasya cha yo vidhi. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are annihilated. Tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense satisfaction? Purport. Samplavaha, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and pratisamplavaha means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in the devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. Living the conditional life is just like plying a boat in the middle of the ocean. Living the conditional life is just like playing. Namaste, Dr. Sahu. Hare Krishna.
Namaste. Hare Krishna. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Thank you for joining. We're here just reading the purport. I'll read the verse over actually. It's Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 8, which is
Yes.
about King Parīkṣit is asking questions to Shukadev Goswami. And this is text 21. So, Samplava Sarva Bhutanam Vikrama Pratishankrama Ishtapurtasya Kamyanam Trivargasya Chayo Vidhi. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are annihilated. Tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, or sense satisfaction? Purport by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Samplavaha, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and prati samplavaha means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in the devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. Living the conditional life is just like plying a boat in the middle of the ocean. One is completely at the mercy of the ocean. At every moment, there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can ply very easily, undoubtedly. But if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean, however one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the ocean by ship may have sufficient experience of such dependence upon the mercy of the ocean. But one can ply over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily, without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. The devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety, because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.13. The Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material, conditional life, Bhagavad Gita 9.29. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be a pure devotee of the Lord by all means. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master, the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service, just as Maharaj Parīkṣit asked his spiritual master, Srila Shukadeva Goswami. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, The Science of Devotional Service by Srila Rupa Goswami, one should not eat more than what he requires to maintain body and soul together. Vegetable diets and milk are sufficient for maintenance of the body, of the human body, and therefore one has no need to eat anything more to satisfy the palate. One should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in the material world. One should earn his livelihood easily and honestly, for it is better to become a coolie for an honest livelihood than to become a great man in society by hook and crook. There is no harm if one becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings, but one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. One should not talk nonsense. A devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creations. A devotee should not decry the creation of the Lord, defying him by saying that he has created a false world. The world is not false. Factually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance. So how can we say that the world is false? Similarly, how can we think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless and at that same time have all intelligence and consciousness, direct and indirect? So there are many things for a pure devotee to learn, and he should learn them perfectly from a bona fide personality like Shukadeva Goswami. The favorable conditions for discharging devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world, in every nook and corner, and therefore a pure devotee's duty is to discharge this order as far as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully, by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such an attempt, he should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee, because he is a soldier in the field. Preaching the cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as the fruit of workers, the mental speculators, the mystic jugglers, and so many others. All of them are against the existence of Godhead. They would declare that they are themselves God, although in every step and in every action they are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong devotee of the Lord will not be misled by such atheistic propaganda of the non-devotees, but a neophyte devotee should be very cautious about them. A devotee should see to the right discharge of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and should not stick only to the formalities. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one should see how much service is being executed, and not simply in the matter of rituals. A devotee should not hanker after anything, but he should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord. That should be the principle of a devotional life. And all these principles are easily learned under the guidance of a spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parīkṣit inquired from Shukadeva correctly, and one should follow his example. Maharaj Parīkṣit inquired about the process of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, the process of Vedic rituals, and the method of executing pious activities in terms of the supplementary Vedas like the Puranas and Mahabharata. As explained before, the Mahabharata is the history of ancient India, and so also are the Puranas. Pious acts are prescribed in the supplementary Vedas, the Smritis, which specifically mention dinging tanks and wells for the water supply of the people in general, to plant trees on the public roads, to construct public temples and places of worship of God, to establish places of charity where the poor destitutes can be provided with foodstuff, and similar activities are all called porta. Similarly, the process of fulfilling the natural desires for sense gratification was also inquired about by the king for the benefit of all concerned. Text 22. Yobhanusainam sarga pashandasya cha sambhava atmano bhanta moksha cha vyavastanam svarupata. Also, please explain how, merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created, and how the infidels appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist. Purport. The progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master how living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. There are two kinds of living entities. They are the ever-liberated, unconditioned living beings, as well as the ever-conditioned living beings. Of the ever-conditioned living beings, there are two divisions. They are the faithful and the infidels. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions, namely the devotees and the mental speculators. The mental speculators desire to merge into the existence of the Lord, or to become one with the Lord, whereas the devotees of the Lord desire to keep separate identities and constantly engage in service of the Lord. The devotees who are not fully purified, as well as the empiric philosophers, become conditioned again during the next creation for further purification. Such conditioned souls become liberated by further progress of devotional service to the Lord. Maharaj Parīkṣit asked all these questions from the bona fide spiritual master in order to become fully equipped in the science of God. Text 23. Yatatma tantro bhagavan vikridatyatma mayaya vishrijavayata mayam udhaste sakshi vadvibhu. The independent personality of Godhead enjoys his pastimes by his internal potency, and at the time of the annihilation gives them up to the external potency, and he remains a witness to it all. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead and fountainhead of all other incarnations, is the only independent person. He enjoys his pastimes by creation as he desires and gives them up to the external energy at the time of annihilation. By his internal potency only, he kills the demon Putana, even though enjoying his pastimes in the lap of his mother Yashoda. And when he desires to leave this world, he creates the pastimes of killing his own family members, the Yadu Kula, and remains unaffected by such annihilation. He is the witness of everything that is happening, and yet he has nothing to do with anything. He is independent in every respect. Maharaj Parīkṣit desired to know more perfectly, for a pure devotee ought to know well. Text 24. Sarvam etachcha bhagavan prachato me nupurvasha tatvato rishya udhartvam prapannaya mahamune. O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you, and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questioning. Since I am a soul surrendered unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection. Purport. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Maharaj Parīkṣit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self-realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. Not only is Maharaj Parīkṣit inquisitive concerning all he has inquired about, but he is also anxious to know about what he has not been able to inquire. Factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire about everything from the spiritual master, but the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. Text 25. Atra pramhanam hi bhavan paramesti yatatmabu apare chanutistanti purvesham purvajai kritam. O great sage, you are as good as Brahma, the original living being. Others follow custom only, as followed by the previous philosophical speculators. Purport. It may be argued that Sukadeva Goswami is not the only authority of perfect knowledge and transcendence, because there are many other sages and their followers. Contemporary to Vyasadeva, or even prior to him, there were many other great sages, such as Gautama, Kanada, Jaimini, Kapila, and Astavakra, and all of them have presented a philosophical path by themselves. Patanjali is also one of them, and all these six great rishis have their own way of thinking, exactly like the modern philosophers and mental speculators. The difference between the six philosophical paths put forward by the renowned sages above mentioned and that of Shukadeva Goswami, as presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is that all the six sages mentioned above speak about facts according to their own thinking. But Shukadeva Goswami presents the knowledge which comes down directly from Brahmaji, who is known as Atmabhu, or born of and educated by the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Vedic transcendental knowledge descends directly from the personality of Godhead. By his mercy, Brahma, the first living being in the universe, was enlightened, and from Brahmaji, Narada was enlightened, and from Narada, Vyasa was enlightened. Shukadeva Goswami received such transcendental knowledge directly from his father, Vyasadeva. Thus, the knowledge being received from the chain of disciplic succession is perfect. One cannot be a spiritual master in perfection unless and until one has received the same by disciplic succession. That is the secret of receiving transcendental knowledge. The six great sages mentioned above may be great thinkers, but their knowledge by mental speculation is not perfect. However perfect an empiric philosopher may be in presenting a philosophical thesis, such knowledge is never perfect because it is produced by an imperfect mind. Such great sages also have their disciplic successions, but they are not authorized because such knowledge does not come directly from the independent, supreme personality of Godhead, Narayan. No one can be independent except Narayan. Therefore, no one's knowledge can be perfect, for everyone's knowledge is dependent on the flickering mind. Mind is material, and thus knowledge presented by material speculators is never transcendental, and can never become perfect. Mundane philosophers, being imperfect in themselves, disagree with other philosophers because a mundane philosopher is not a philosopher at all, unless he presents his own theory. Intelligent persons like Maharaj Parīkṣit do not recognize such mental speculators, however great they may be, but hear from the authorities like Shukadeva Goswami, who is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the Parampara system, as is specially stressed in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 26 on Wednesday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Manuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Sweet Dham Ki Jai. Gopali Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Jai Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Kartik Mas Damodar Mas Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Jai Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Dr. Sahu Ki Jai.
Jai Krishna Swami Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Did you want to say anything, Dr. Sahu?
No, I was just listening to you. You always speak very well, and I'm so happy to listen to you. Like whatever you said regarding Bhagavad Gita translation, it is really true. One needs to be a true devotee, and very rightly pointed out what one should not do and one should do when you are looking for a spiritual path and the transcendental path. But as you said, that we all are in a kind of limitation, and to get that path of infinity, or a path of absolute knowledge, you need a guru, and that is what I'm trying to. And I'm really impressed by the explanation you have given, and the distinction between the material world and the spiritual world, world of limitations and the world of infinity. Uh, we are trying, I'm trying my best to that, have what I should not do and what I should do. And there is always a kind of dilemma in life. So I'm trying my best to overcome that dilemmas and to come forward to a path which actually needed, to get rid of all stresses in life. And as you said, Lord Krishna protect their devotees, and who actually look for him, not in an artificial manner, but in a kind of internally. uh, you should have a faith on, and worship also, and then we can achieve that state. I'm trying and really fascinated by the gurus, what the lecture they are giving. But I just would like to know the names of the guru who sits near to you. What is this? I do not know the names very correctly. One is Swami. Uh,
Sure. So everything that you just heard me say, I did none of that was my own words at all. I was reading from Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I'll put his name in the chat here. Um, Vedanta
okay.
Swami
Uh,
Prabhupada. I just put his name in
okay.
the chat, and I also put the website that I was reading from. It's called the Veda Base.
Okay. And you suggested me some books so that I can also go through if they they are available on the net, or maybe through Amazon I can order.
I'm writing in the chat again. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Summary of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
The teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
This is the book that
Okay.
Sripad Bhaktimadhava Puri Maharaj mentioned to you on Saturday.
Yes.
So this is a book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's a summary of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. But Maharaj also recommended that you also read the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, which is by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj. I'm putting his name in the chat right now.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll go through this book, and maybe coming Saturday I'll discuss if I don't understand some of the basic things. So then I'll definitely ask the Guru Swamiji.
So
Would you like me to do something, some kind of chanting?
uh, anything like that, I would ask Sripad Bhaktimadhava Puri Maharaj.
Okay, okay.
Um, but I put all the names. I think on Saturday you had written down the names of the Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana Acharyas, right? Srila Rupa
Yes,
Goswami,
yes, yes,
Sanatan
yes,
Goswami, and Raghunath Das
yes.
Goswami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I have noted down that that is there with me. I'll just go through that. And I'm really sorry I could not attend this program early. Like you started 6:45, but I just reached late, and for that reason I could not attend. And next time I'll be in time.
The
So you are
Goswami.
doing every Monday?
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Monday and Friday.
Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days.
Okay. 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 And would you like to tell me some kind of chanting always whenever you have some, not only problems, but anyway, a kind of discipline of mind and body? So any kind of nama japa or something?
Well, like I said, I would ask Sripad Bhaktimadhava Puri Maharaj about that on Saturday. But of course, the mantra, the Maha mantra that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought to us, gave to us, is the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yes, that I'll do. I used to do always Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we used to recite a long time. So that is there in my house. We used to do. I'll do that. I'll also do that. Is there a specific time where you can do, or any time is suggested?
24/7. you know,
Yes,
in the
that's
in
a
the
good
mind,
thing.
in the mind, if we can remember the Harinam, if we can chant the Harinam in our mind, and always remember Krishna in that way, and then it'll be very nice. That's what I've learned from the gurus, from our gurus, Guru Varga.
Very true. Very true. Anytime. 24 and 7. Yes, that I'll do that.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
Maybe I'll
Yes,
see you again on Wednesday when we read Bhagavatam, Dr. Sahub.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
I'll do join.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Namo, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Dandavad,
Dhanavad. Dhanavad Pranam.
dandavad.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.